All right, here we go. This is the business end of the season as Forest will host Chelsea in the final game at the City Ground for this season. But will it be the final City Ground game in the Premier League? Welcome to your preview for Forest versus Chelsea. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome for your preview on Forest versus Chelsea. Kicking off at 5:30 on Saturday after Luton and Burnley have both played their matches before. So there could be a scenario, as I've been bleating on all week and praying and hoping for, a stress-free Forest match. If both Luton and Burnley win, they will effectively relegate themselves. Luton will still be around on goal difference, but Burnley will be gone. In fact, if Burnley draw, it's still game over for them. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new, and get your score predictions in down below. How confident are you feeling about this game? And just before we get started, look at this prize that Football Prizes have put together. It's not one signed frame shirt, but two, a double. Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi in a massive framed signed shirt with this year's home kit, with Insta prize wins as well of Taiwo and of Chris Wood. So if you want to check those tickets, this is a special one. And what a special one, as Forest are playing their last home game. Please don't be the last one in the Premier League. Go check it out. The link's pinned in the comments. I got a feeling this one's going to go down well, especially with Callum Hudson-Odoi in the form he's in. And that's where I want to start on this video, because Callum Hudson-Odoi will be facing his old team, Chelsea. And what do we think of this? Well, Chelsea have been in good form. Chelsea will know what to expect from Callum Hudson-Odoi. And will Callum Hudson-Odoi have a point to prove that they let him go for 2.5, rising up to 5 million in the summer just gone? And he is coming into great form. Yes, I know I could score against Sheffield, but it's the manners of his goals, the way he's been cutting and finessing like he's playing FIFA on repeat, and that teams just can't seem to stop. And with Chelsea's newfound formation, their newfound form, will they be able to stop CHO? We will find out. But what I'm going to cover off today, I'm going to talk about formations. I'm going to talk about the potential Forest lineup. I'm going to talk about the Chelsea team, their lineup, and how this is all going to work. But I just want to start here with Taiwo. I think it's time for Taiwo, for me, because Taiwo is ready. Chris Wood, ever since he lost his powers at Spurs, it's just not been working from him. Look, shout out to Chris Wood. He's done what he needed to do this season to get us where we are with his goals. He's done a fantastic job. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm his biggest critic. But I think now Taiwo is set for Chelsea. And why? Because he has scored or assisted, if I'm not mistaken, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, against every Chelsea team, against every time we've played Chelsea since we've been back in the Premier League. He scored in the 1-1 draw at the City Ground. I think he got 2 in the away game last season, and he got the assist this year for Elanga to go through, and we beat them 1-0. And a fun fact for you, Chelsea is one of a very limited number of teams that have not beaten Nottingham Forest since we've been back in the Premier League from our promotion. Can you name the others? In the comments, let me know. Okay, let's get into these predictions and previews. So this was the team that started for Forest against Sheffield, and as I predicted, it was going to be a 4-2-3-1. However, I am pretty convinced we'll be seeing a back three against Chelsea this weekend. And I'm not against it. In fact, I would go for it. The way Forest played against Man City in that back three formation, against a slightly lesser team in Chelsea. Look, I'm not going to put disrespect on Chelsea's team. I think they have potentially a team in the making. And I actually think come next season, they'll be back fighting for top 4. Maybe along with Forest. Let's cross that bridge once we're safe. So I'm going to put this team into a back 5 or back 3 formation. So what does that mean? We're going to have to lose some midfielders. So let's just start with the defensive lineup. I think it's a no-brainer. You go Murillo, on the left, Bolly on the right, and you bring in Niakate in the middle. Now, if you switch those two around, Niakate and Murillo, which is I think what he did against Man City, I have no problem with that either. In fact, that kind of frees Murillo to get forward and puts Niakate in his most natural position, which is left centre-back in a back three. In terms of the fullbacks, I think Montiel was okay. Look, I know he got a lot of heat for giving away the penalty against Sheffield. I still think he slipped into the slide. I would still stick with him. Now, if you want an alternative there, you could put Einar right back and bring Tavares in. That may help to free up Callum Hudson-Odoi. But I think this will be the back five we see come Saturday evening. And then into the midfield. Now, this is where I have my worries. Because I think what Nuno will do, I actually think he's going to run the same team we saw against, Man City, but with changing wood. So I think you're going to see Danilo and Morgan Gibbs-White operate in there. I think Chris Wood will come out and Taiwo will start, because of his history, because he can physically kind of get into that Chelsea defence. And I think we'll see a lineup a bit like this. However, it does worry me a little. Why? Because of the way Chelsea play. And I'll show you what I mean in their team. They will overload us in their midfield, and their midfield is very powerful. And I personally feel it needs a three-man midfield. In fact, I would go a step further. I would semi-go Cooper style on this one and play this a bit narrower. What I would do, I'd probably leave Callum Hudson-Odoi out on the left. I'd drop Elanga. I feel he's completely out of form. And then I'd split these two up with Morgan Gibbs-White playing slightly more into the middle, almost a little triangle here, and bring Dominguez in alongside him. And then, yeah, you're just leaving a lot of space there for Montiel to have to do it, and you're probably going to give up that section of the pitch anyway. But what this does, it gives us an extra body in midfield, and that's what we're going to need against Chelsea. However, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to stick to a very similar setup like that, in the 3-4-3, however you want to call this formation. That's what I think he'll go for. Will it be strong enough? I just worry about bodies in midfield, because we do have a tendency both under Cooper and Nuno to get overrun in that midfield, and it just needs an extra body for me. Now, Elanga did score against Chelsea in the reverse fixture earlier on in the season, but that's when he was really coming into form. To me, he just looks extremely slow currently. Even there was a moment in the Sheffield game where he got in behind the crappy Sheffield defenders, and I just thought he'd turn the afterburners on and burst through, but they caught him up, and then he ended up squaring the ball to Morgan Gibbs-White, playing it a bit behind him. He just doesn't look on form, but maybe because he's not, that could be the reason we see him score. Who knows? But that's the team I think we'll see. I do worry about how thin that is in the midfield. Now, if we move on to the Chelsea team, if this was a month ago, if this was 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, whatever, you'd be looking at this game and thinking, you know what, I quite fancy our chances. There's a lot of misfits in this team. However, Poch has made some significant changes, and one of them has been forced upon him that I think has helped the team out a lot, and that's Enzo Fernandez getting injured. I think they look way more stable and way more balanced without him in the team. And in fact, I think it's brought the best out of Caicedo, because he's starting to look like the player he was when he was at Brighton. But the key player in this team for me, yes, I know everyone's going to say Palmer and what a great season he's had, and I fully do agree with that. But if you watch tactically what Chelsea have done, it's been about Cucurella for me in the last few weeks. What you see Chelsea now doing is turning it into a Pep-style system, where Cucurella comes into here and inverts into that midfield, creating that overload. And then what you'll see is the back three almost shuffling along there. And that's been a huge significant change in their style, in their performance. It then allows Gallagher to progress further up the pitch. It obviously frees up Palmer as well. But it will overload the midfield. And this was the point I was making when I talked about the Forest midfield too. I think it's semi-suicidal to go with two in midfield against the Chelsea team that's going to stack it with the inversion of Cucurella. Now, let's talk about their weaknesses. For me, Jackson. I don't care how much Chelsea fans want to defend him. And I don't care if you lot are going to go jinxerine in the chat. If he scores, he scores. I have no control over that. But he's not a striker for me. I actually think he's a better winger. His finishing is horrific. We all saw the chance he missed against Forest. Open goal, 4 yards out. Couldn't convert it. Seen plenty more examples of that throughout the season. But to be fair to him, he has bagged quite a few. But if any Chelsea fan tells me that he shouldn't have had 5 to 7 more goals comfortably on easy conversion chances, then they're kidding themselves. And Mudryk, I don't rate him still. Yes, since he's had his new haircut, he's turned into a slightly better player. He looks like he's playing with a bit more confidence. He's very fast. He will give Montiel a lot of issues. But I still don't think he's quite there. Can he develop? Maybe he needs another pre-season under his belt. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But then Mudryk, I actually rate this player. I think, again, he's another reason Chelsea have found some good form recently, and he's been quite a catalyst to what's going on. But I still think, as much as they love and admire Silva, he's not it anymore. He's done at the end of the season. He's not quick enough. Taiwo's had him done plenty of times in the last few games that they've played. I think he still is a weakness for them. And they've brought in Chalobah, who's technically playing right back, but pushes into centre back once Cucurella inverts in. He was heavily linked with Forest. There was talks that he was going to join us, not just the last transfer window in the summer, but the one before that as well. But Chelsea were tagging like 25 mil on him. He actually looks a decent player for me. I just think we can get at this back three if we play Taiwo. But my worry is, can we get to the back three if we're getting overloaded and flooded in the midfield? What do you guys think? Let me know what your thoughts are on Chelsea in the comments down below. So, how do I see this one playing out? The honest answer is, I think it depends on what happens with the Luton and Burnley games beforehand, and how the atmosphere is going to be at the City ground. If Forest is safe by the time this match kicks off, I couldn't give a damn if Chelsea beat us. I really couldn't. Right now, my two objectives in this season are get to the end of it, and of course, stay in the Premier League. We all need a break from it. You guys know what it's done to my health. I'm sure it's doing similar things to your health as well. But we're so close to that finish line. If Luton are able to beat West Ham or Burnley are able to beat Spurs, then Forest really need to pull a performance out. An Arsenal-style one, a snatch and grab, a 1-0, anything, I don't care. Another Taiwo special. Taiwo has been good at coming back from injury and getting straight onto the score sheet. And I do think he's going to be important and cause a physical problem for Chelsea that Wood doesn't really tend to do when he's playing. If Forest can somehow get some kind of control in that midfield, I can see us getting a positive result. But if I'm being honest with you guys, I don't think we win this one. I think we'll get a draw out of it. But will that be enough? If Luton draw and if Burnley do not win, then a draw will be enough for Forest. We just have to match Luton this weekend. And if we do that, get your Hawaiian tops out, because it's as good as official and Forest will be safe. But this is Forest, and we always do it the hard way. Get your score predictions in down below. Don't forget to go check out the Football Prizes double framed signed tops with Hudson-Odoi and Elanga. The link will be on the end screen for you and in the comments down below. And thank you guys so much. We are less than 80 quid away from reaching the target of the new PC. You guys are unbelievable. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Hit that like if you haven't already and subscribe. Come on, you Reds.